No, obviously it was very important for us to not lose the game today. Not being at best level in the Premier League, so we needed a point at least. We needed to get something from this game. Obviously, it's not the result we wanted, but at the end, as you said, we had to push a little bit for something, and not happy to get a point, but obviously it's always better than nothing. And I think we did enough to at least score one goal. I think we created chances enough to score more than one goal, but obviously it's not still not enough from us.
Yeah, on these chances created, we're talking to Ruben, and he says that there are still a lot of things, especially in the decision making in the final third, that you need to improve. So how do you see that, and where do you see signs of improvement today that you can build on for the match in the Europa League?
No, it's just the belief to score goals. Like we need to be more. We need to have more hunger than defenders to get on the ball. Need to get ahead of them. We need on crosses to fight with them, to get the ball, to get there first. And the defenders, you need to be focused on everything you do in training. Whenever we do something in training, we need to make it as a game. And I think that's what we have to do from now on. We should have done it already, and we've been doing that in the previous trainings, but obviously you need to try it as a game, because and then the game it's coming, and sometimes what gives more frustration is that sometimes you get one chance and you will score a goal, and sometimes you get 10-15 chances and you don't score, and that's something that can happen to us, that we create so many chances and then we end up scoring just one goal. I think with the team we have, we need just to put more bodies in the box. We need to create more danger. We need to be more active in the box, even outside the box. We need to be much more brave to try our shots, to take our chances.
Was one point. I think we could do better in these kind of situations. We create chances, but sometimes we need to do better near the box. But yeah, 1 point.
Yeah, when you say do better near the box, do you mean be more composed or more accurate or create more big chances? Where did you see? Because it was quite a different game from the Wolves match last week.
It's small things. Then we have to understand even the foot that is in the play, the way we cross, the better one crossing, the better one driving the ball, the better one against one outside, and we need to understand the game in that way. So I think if we understand the position better, we can create more chances. But today we push the opponent, especially with the sent off. We had the chances, but again we didn't score.
So it's more a matter of those final choices in the final third. Is more a matter of reading the spaces that you need to attack.
Yes, understanding the teammate, and then against 10 players, we can push the opponent before we attack to control transitions. And sometimes we are putting the ball without any pressure, long balls, and these small things make the difference, because it stop the game. One throw in, one goal kick. Stop the game. So we need to be better.
You've been saying that it's not only about Rasmus Højlund scoring, but of course there is a bigger expectation on the striker to score goals. So what do you expect this goal to do for him in terms of confidence coming to these big games that you have in the semi-finals?
It's always important for a striker to score goals, but again, when we look at the game as a striker, it's not just goals. Of course, that is really important and massive, can change the game, of course. And it's a good boost. But the next game is a new history and we have to go again.
Yeah.
Viewing for Manchester United fans, and yet another Premier League goal for Antoine Semenyo, who you're a big fan of.
I am, yeah. I've really enjoyed watching him this season. That's the 9th goal I think he scored this season, Steve, which is his best season, with a little bit to go as well. Manchester United here trying to play out from the back. They get nabbed, and Semenyo with a great strike to finish. But I mean, this is not playing out from the back. This is it? I mean, this is possibly the worst example of trying to play out to the back that you'll see in a while. And Arna going backwards to Luke Shaw, who then puts Dorgu in all kinds of pressure with a 5-yard awful pass, and they get rightly punished. I mean, I don't know whose idea it is to play out like this. If it's the managers he needs talking to, if it's the goalkeepers he needs hitting, because it's an atrocious way of giving the opposition leeway and getting them on top in a game like this.
And listen to this. That is the 21st time in the Premier League this season that Manchester United have gone a goal down.
Yeah, and unnecessary.
Yes.
They're in possession of the ball. They're not good enough to do that at the moment. They're not good enough to do that. I understand, the manager wanted to play out eventually, but playing the ball onto the wrong foot. Luke Shaw then playing the ball into somebody that's got no chance of going anywhere. Just knock it down the line, go back to the goalkeeper. Anything but that. They've just encouraged it.
Steve, I bet you they don't score. They may score 1 goal a season by playing out from the goalkeeper all the way through the park and scoring.
Exactly.
And I bet you they concede about 10.
Let's have a look at the one and only chance they had, really. Alejandro Garnacho towards the end of that first half. He probably, again, looks their most likely source if there is one.
Yeah, and the most creative aspect of Manchester United for a long time has been this guy, hasn't he? Bruno Fernandes. And that's a beautiful ball. And it doesn't get the credit it deserves. You don't focus on the pass because it ends up wide. Garnacho, listen, the goalkeeper saves it, so you can't be too critical. But he probably, because it's set up nice, the lob had to be, I mean, it's easy to say, the lob had to be higher just to take the goalkeeper out of the equation.
Yeah, not much more he could do really in terms of his choice.
Stretching,
the ball's high, he can't do anything but try to lob him. As Maka said, it's just the execution. But just going back to it, I mean, how easy Manchester United give goals away. If they're going to score here, they'll have to work hard for a goal. I mean, it's hard scoring goals in the Premier League, and then you just give, goals away like that, and then a great ball there from Bruno Fernandes. And as I say, to score a goal, you've got to do something unbelievably good, break somebody down. And to give away a goal, it's just mind-numbing.
OK, halfway to a big win for Bournemouth. Manchester United,
Last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. We was putting them under a lot of pressure. But like I said, they had 10 men. But, I'd rather we had 8 shots and scored 2 goals.
Yeah, 6 of those were...
We've got to be more clinical. There's no point having all the shots and not scoring the goals. It's just, you don't win games by.
How many, Fraser, how many world-class saves did Kepa make in the second half? How many saves did he make?
Yeah, he made a few saves.
But, saves he should have saved.
Yeah, not world-class ones.
No.
You got to be
just doing his job, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Doing his job, yeah. But you know what I mean? I mean, as I say, I thought we dominated second half play and we created a few chances, but with the clear-cut chances, Alan, that's what I'm trying to say. We should be creating more for me, and we should be scoring more, and we're not at the minute. Well, a point's a point today, because can you imagine going to Bilbao, losing that game?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we would have been hammered.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see what he does with that team, especially for the likes of Luke Shaw playing 99 minutes in the end today. I think we'd said at half-time, he might only get 60 to 70 minutes, have a bit of a rest in his legs.
Yeah, especially with him saying, it was a bit of a risk for Luke to be starting today. You'd have thought that. I thought he would be playing on Thursday. So for him to play 99 minutes today, it might be a bit of a ask for him to play again on Thursday. But we've got Harry Amas, who's done brilliantly so far. Maybe he'll get the nod. It'll be interesting to see who plays. We
did talk about intensity at half-time. Sammy, did you see more of that in the second half?
Second half we came out, we moved the ball quicker, we passed it better, and we upped our game, no doubt about it. And as I say, we were well in the game. We probably had more play in the second half. Bournemouth, I know, hit the post with a free kick, but other than that, it was mostly what United were doing with the ball. And as I say, just that final third just keeps letting us down at the end of it. But we did enough in the game to come out with something, which we did today.
Yeah, and so did they. That is the first time Bournemouth have hit the 50-point mark in their history in the Premier League. So they'll be pleased with getting a point today.
Yeah, we said before the game, didn't we, that they'd been on such a good run up until January time, and they dropped off a little bit of late. But on a whole, I think they'd be very happy with how the season's progressed for them.
Well, if they win, Fraser, they could have won 8th. For Bournemouth to be 8th.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
They've got aspirations of going in Europe, which is, you wouldn't think, you might not have thought that start season. So yeah, they've had a good season, and they play some good football.
Let's talk red cards. I think you both agreed that the first one probably was more of a red card than the second one, but the second one did get given on a challenge against Mazraoui. Were you surprised about that one, Sammy?
I mean, we could look at it, Helen, as we did, and the lad did slip into the tackle.
Yeah, you seen his left foot kind of going beneath him.
His left foot, definitely, but his legs did come up and they clattered him, there's no doubt about it, and they looked at it. And I thought to myself, I said to Fraser, the time this is taking, and if he goes to the screen, they're going to send him off, which they did. But I actually think the first one was worse than the second one, and I just thought he evened up there. I thought VAR and the referee evened up the first one not being a sending off, that he had to send him off.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
It was only surprising for me, the second one, because he didn't give the first one. He didn't even go look at the screen, did he, to review it. And I thought the first one was more of a red card than the second one. So I think that's the problem people have got with VAR. It's the inconsistency. One week it's a red, 1 week it's not, and then 2 in one game where one should have been a red probably, and the other one is.
Equally, when we go to 10 men at 70 minutes, you would hope that we would go on and take the 3 points. Really.
Absolutely. I thought the manager as well, I mean, he brought attacking players on. He brought the big lad Obi on, who had a chance, by the way. Just didn't connect it properly, but he was round about the goal, and he looks a dangerous lad. Hopefully he'll have a big future here. I just thought maybe the substitutions for me might have been a wee bit sooner with the forward players, because we were the ones that were going to have all the ball. And you get your creative players on like Ericsson, and Mount came on and did okay. I just thought maybe a wee bit sooner for me. But as I say, that's the manager's decision, and we came away with something.
We did talk a lot about Mount before the game. What did you make of the performance he put out there today?
Yeah, it was positive. Everything that you'd expect from him over the years. His high energy. He put his body around the pitch. He had a chance right at the end. That was, he was unlucky not to score. But yeah, I think we just need to give him a bit of time. Hopefully he stays injury free and he can, bring his best game to United, because I think he's a quality player. We've just not had a chance to see him.
He needs to run a game, Alan.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Unfortunately, we don't have many left.
Oh, that's true. Exactly.
On the day Liverpool looked likely to equal their record of 20 top-flight titles, Manchester United could only manage a draw with Bournemouth, despite playing against 10 men for the final quarter of the game. This was another late rescue act, although Rasmus Højlund's equaliser was more of a face-saving exercise than the heroics against Lyon 2 weeks ago. There was no outpouring of emotion to match the mood of Old Trafford then, just a sense that things could have been a lot worse. Højlund's goal came at the end of sustained pressure in 9 minutes of injury time, but still felt harsh on Bournemouth. They dominated much of the game and responded well to Evanilson's yellow card being upgraded to a red by VAR. His tackle on Nasser Mazraoui was reckless but unfortunate, not helped by slipping on his final approach. United looked a fatal combination of unable and unwilling to cope with Bournemouth at the beginning of the match. Andoni Iraola's side moved up the gears from the kick-off. United could not even start their engine. The storm looked weathered when Alejandro Garnacho, a rare bright spot, dragged a shot just wide after quarter of an hour, but 10 minutes later Bournemouth were ahead. It was a familiar comedy of errors at the back for Ruben Amorim's team. Shortly after his own team took a free kick, Patrick Dorgu slipped in possession on the touchline. The ball reached the box where Casemiro overcommitted, making space for Antoine Semenyo to finish Evanilson's first-time pass with relish. United were hardly overwhelmed. Bournemouth needed to operate at their diligent best to establish superiority. But there were few indications that Amorim's side were capable of matching that intensity. The well-known systemic failures were evident in the ease with which Bournemouth made mischief in wide positions. United's back three were relatively steady but offered little protection by the wing-backs, particularly Dorgu. Casemiro looked overwhelmed at 33 in the young man's game of a Premier League midfield. No heroic rescue act either from Bruno Fernandes, who lashed one late shot into the side netting shortly after some pointed shouting towards his own bench. But he and his team plugged away credibly to rescue something, turning the match from embarrassment to neutral. Clearly their attention is on the Europa League and the trip to Bilbao on Thursday, but this was still another league low in a season full of them. Bournemouth's attention is on the same competition, but they might still make it in via their domestic finish. Play like they did for much of this